Hello everyone, I'm Michael Lamontagne, and today's video is to show off the API functionality included in Cloudbridge and how you can easily take a simple or complex PowerShell script and allow users to query and search the results or trigger a script from Microsoft Teams via a bot. We should be able to accomplish this in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to hop into PowerShell ISE. I've already installed the Skype for Business Online PowerShell module. I'm going to authenticate to my tenant and dump all the CS Online user data. This data is going to include all the Skype for Business and Teams attributes of my accounts. But you can see there's a lot of properties here and it's not the prettiest output to work with. So I'm not going to want to scroll all the time. So let's maybe use a format table and just select a few of the properties that I care about. Once I have an idea of all the properties I want, maybe I'll dump it to an out grid view or something so I can do some filtering after the fact. Obviously I could modify my script to do some filtering or data manipulation before getting to output, but I'm not 100% sure what I'm looking for. So I have a select here. I'm going to dump to out grid view. Once I have it in the grid view, this is a great UI. I can drag it around, I can filter. But the problem is I forgot a property, and so I don't have the ability to add any more data in here. So I'm going to close out of the grid view, and I'm just going to dump my data to a grid view without a select. Now I'm going to have to deal with hundreds of properties. I'm going to have to remove them all. I'm going to have to then re-add them in the order I want, sort them. A lot of clicking around. There's no real drag and drop. And once I have what I like, I can click OK and work with my data. But then if I close the window and then I realize I need to get some more data, I'll jump back in and nothing's saved. So I'm going to hop into Cloudbridge. So there is a better way. What I'm going to do is in my Cloudbridge tenant, I'm just going to create a folder. And at this folder level, I'm going to add some credentials. These credentials are stored in Key Vault, so they're secure. I don't have to worry about, encrypting them into a file, decrypting them, and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to put my credentials in here. These credentials can be cloud-based, so Microsoft Cloud, Azure, Office 365, or we actually have an on-prem proxy that you can authenticate to and run PowerShell. I'm going to hit verify. I can verify against Azure AD or Office 365. Once I have my credentials, I'm going to start looking at building out a script. So we have a script. We're going to do the same script that we did before. So what we're going to do is hop into the credentials tab. We're going to reference the credentials from the parent folder. Yeah, I could define my own credentials at the script level, but I think the parent folder is good enough for us for today. We're going to hop it back into PowerShell ISE. I'm just going to grab my simple script, unmodified. I'm going to paste that in there. And then I'm going to check the box to allow the script data to be accessible through a REST endpoint. You can see I didn't modify my script at all. I even schedule it. So I cloud scheduled it to run every day, every 30 minutes. And then I'm just going to do a manual run. And you're going to see the run information as it runs through the script and gets the data. As we hop to the results tab, I'm going to create a copy view of our raw output. So this is going to be enterprise voice. I'm going to actually create the subnode shortcut so that I can navigate to it from under the script in the tree. And then we can close off the panel so we don't need to see the tree. We'll just focus in on our script. So what we have here is all the properties outputted from the script. And we can easily uncheck all the properties, select the few properties that we care about. We can, sort them, drag and drop. Another thing that Cloudbridge does is actually puts in spacing into the name. So it'll space at, where there's a capital so that, it's easier to read the property names. I'm just going to select a few more properties that I care about, maybe line URI. We're going to look at hosted voicemail. Voicemail policy. And let's actually do some conditional formatting on enabled. So if enabled is true, we'll do a green check. If enabled's false, we'll do a red X. So pretty quick. Save it to the grid. You'll see the output change. We can resize the columns. I'm going to change some of the sorting right from the grid. We can even do some group by. So I'll group by the effective mode for the teams. And then I'll even group by those that are enabled for enterprise voice. So I'm going to add that property in there because I didn't select it the first round. I can drag it up, put it in the order I want. Now I'm grouping by not only the upgrade mode, but then enterprise voice. I could do a quick search. I have other filters, so I can do reset, contain, starts with, ends with. I'm going to also sort. So I'm going to sort by all the users that are enabled, and I'm going to save my view. Now every time that script runs, it will show up in this view with the latest data. Now we're going to jump into Query Builder, and we're going to create our own RESTful API. So we just look up the script, we'll look up our specific view. We can select all the columns that we want from that view, maybe some of the ones that we don't really care about. And I'm going to add a filter here. So similar to on the grid, I'm going to filter on the display name. I'm just going to put test in here just as a reference point. Now I've copied that to the clipboard. I'm just going to open up somewhere to paste that. There's basically three components that we care about for calling the API. We have the body, the header, and then the URL. So if we hop into Teams, I'm just going to go to the store, and I'm actually going to install AtBot. AtBot's awesome for creating personal bots with little to no effort. So I've installed that into my as a personal app, and then I'm going to authenticate to it so it has permissions. I'm a global admin, so I'm just going to consent at my organization level. And then I'm going to hop into Microsoft Flow. So we're going to create a new flow from blank. We're going to use the @bot intent. We're going to sign in. I'm going to just make it personal so that only my account has the ability to call this flow. And what we're going to do is get the PSTN information for a specific user. So my keyword is PSTN. I'm going to basically send a response as soon as I type PSTN in the bot conversation. My response is just going to be, which user would you like to look up for PSTN settings? Now the real power of Flow is this HTTP action. So I'm going to hop back to PowerShell. I'm looking for a post method, and here's my URL or URI. So post, put the link in there. So headers, we have a header here that's authorization. And then we're going to grab our unique code to run this script or this query. And then the body. So we need the body in a JSON format. So I just ran this in ISE. I'm going to get my body variable and just do a convert to JSON. So a couple seconds, got what I need, hop back into Flow and paste. Now I'm going to look for that test attribute that we did in the query builder. I'm going to replace it with the response of the user from the conversation. So now if the user says, I want to look up Bob, Bob's being passed into my HTTP request. Give the flow an easier, a friendly name, and save. So let's hop back to our bot. This time we're going to trigger it with PSTN. I'm going to get my question. I'm going to give it a person to check. And then we're going to hop back to flow. So if we look at our run, we can see it was successful. If we scroll down, we can see what the response was. We can see that there is a date time stamp and the results. So we're going to edit the flow. And armed with what we can expect return from the API, we're just going to parse the JSON, put the body in there. Here's our sample. Now we're going to send a response via the bot with the data results. So we're going to hit send reply. We're going to get the data from the JSON. So we're going to so there could be multiple responses, so it puts an apply to each. And I'm just going to say this person's phone number is this, and the data was generated at this time. Perfect. Just save that. Go back to my flow. We're going to run it again, PSTN. Let's get Megan's data. So what we're going to see is what phone number is assigned to Megan and when the data was generated. Next, we're going to go into flow and we're going to prompt the user to see if they want to refresh the data. So we're going to just send a simple get response and just say, do you want me to run the script on demand? And then we'll just give the user the options yes or no. Next, we'll do a condition. And if the condition from the response is yes, we'll refresh the data. And if it's no, we'll just tell the user to have a good day. Okay, so what we're going to do is another HTTP action. We're going to hop over to Cloudbridge. And if we go on the script tab, and we'll just go back to the properties, and we hit generate, copy. And now we have the URI to trigger the run action. I'm just covering some of the URL because it does have my key for that in there. But it's a simple HTTP GET to that API. And then once it runs, we're just going to tell the user that we've ran the data, refresh, and to query results again. So now if we go back into the bot, we'll type in PSTN. This time we'll get a different user, Alex. We get Alex's phone number, the data refresh. Now it's going to ask me, do I want to refresh it? We'll say yes. We'll hop back into Cloudbridge and we'll look that the run action has been triggered at the same time. Every time the script is ran in Cloudbridge, we get an entry in the time bar, and you can see either a read-only view of the script at that time or the results at that time. And we could jump around at the different runs. Just a quick recap of this video. We took a script unmodified and placed it into Cloudbridge. From there, we were able to schedule it or run on demand. We then made some custom views to interpret the results. We then generated an API to access or query those results. We installed AtBot from the Microsoft Teams store. We then had the ability to do a conversational workflow. Using Microsoft Flow, we were able to access the Cloudbridge APIs, both the API for results and the API to trigger additional runs of the script.